Hi. This is this is a new thing I am trying to do. It's a podcast. I think it's called A Way Forward is what I'm calling it as of now. I wanted to create a podcast where I'm talking to artists about their respective industries and their perspectives, because I think that it is really important for artists this day and age to know what they're signing up for, because the digital age is upon us and things are rapidly changing, and the institutions are not really set up to teach people a lot of things. And so this is that. So with me, I have my good friend. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hey, everybody. My name is Morgen McKynzie. Michael and I went to college together.
Yeah, we did. Sorry, I'm giggling because
Getting
I just
college
love.
friends.
Yeah, I love this person so much.
Love
Yeah.
you so much.
So Mo is an actor, and so we're gonna just be talking about the industry. They're recently in Mean Girls, which is really cool. If you've seen Mean Girls, I guess I don't want to spoil it. She's in Mean Girls, and you will know who she is when you see her in Mean Girls, because she's like a really big
I pop
part.
in, I pop in, I pop
No,
in,
you
pop out.
don't. It's not.
Literally
You don't.
popping bubble gum.
You
Pop in,
literally
pop out.
you
That's
literally
what I'm saying
pop
about it.
in.
That's
Oh,
what I'm
so
saying.
talk to me about the ending. About the ending of the movie. If you're just a
Pop
pop
in,
in,
pop out. I said, ooh, and I popped out.
she's clowning y'all. The person she plays is really iconic, and like we'll go down. Like
You're
what you have
so
to
nice.
understand. I don't. Can I say this without spoiling? I'll just say this to
What?
you, and then viewers, if you've seen Mean Girls, you'll understand. The character you play, Mo, is like will go down in history as canonizing that character's sexuality in a
I'm
way
so, yeah.
in a way that has,
Confirmation is a beautiful thing.
yeah,
That's all I
like,
have to say. Confirmation is a
yeah,
beautiful thing. That's all.
you serve as that, and that will be forever enshrined in Mean Girls, which is like, this is like Shakespearean, like Mean Girls is, so like, but we'll get to that, we'll
On
get to that.
classical text.
No,
Okay.
well, because when I was watching a little bit about Mean Girls, when I was watching the movie, I was just like, oh, this very much feels like, a Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar, where you're like, we see the characters, we know the archetypes, we
I see
know
what
the
you mean.
story, but this is just
Yeah.
like the modern day version of the story. And when I was viewing it like that, I was like, because I'm not really into remakes and shit like that, but when I was viewing it like that, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cool. These are the Regina Georges and this stuff like that, and
Right.
um, I just found it super interesting. So enough about me. So you are an actor.
I
How
love
did you
them.
get into acting?
Well, I feel like in comparison to all of our friends and all of our peers who are also in the industry, I feel like I got into it really late. I was a band geek
Would you
and
play?
I was a clarinet. That was the main.
Clarinet.
It was clarinet. But
Oh yeah.
then I transferred to a school that was slightly outside of my district, from middle school to high school, and I was
Okay.
supposed to be in band,
Why did
but
you
they
transfer to that school outside of your
good
district?
question. That school had an academy that it was a business academy, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna be an accountant, Mama. I want to be
We'll
an
be an accountant.
accountant. Mama, I want to sing. No, but that in the school that I was zoned for, they didn't have that, and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
So when I got there, something happened with my credits, and they're like, oops, I'm so sorry, you cannot do band, we're putting you in theater one. I said, what kind of a hot mess
What?
is this? But they changed my life, and I should go thank that counselor right now because I
Yeah.
would not have even fathomed what would come after that. But even while I was there, I wasn't really taking it seriously, or let me say, the people around me weren't taking it seriously for
I'll
me
come.
until mainly my junior year. Like they didn't think, oh, she's new, like she's not really gonna put the necessary efforts into this as the
Yeah.
people who are like they were doing this since they were 3 or
Yeah.
since
Yeah. Yeah.
middle school. I'm like, oh, y'all are true to this. So I was just playing around, and then I had a teacher my junior year. Her name was Kelsey Dardo, and that woman, something about her presence that specific year, everything aligned, and it was an exposure for myself to a possibility I did not know. And it sounds cheesy, like we all have our
No.
like a come to Jesus moment, but I'm just like, oh wait, this is a part of myself that I have always done since I was a kid, but I just didn't have a name for it.
Yeah.
And she just to give it a name. And she also showed me the prospects of this being a profession and
Yeah.
that it is possible to
Yeah.
be a profession. So all of that happened, and
Yeah.
pretty much junior year got specific or got real, and then I started putting things in line to think about college. I was first gen, so college was already.
Okay. That
I
was
was
going to
like,
be a
I got to
big
figure this
deal.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then putting auditions on top of that I was like, what is? I'm just trying to make sure I understood.
So did you get into the BFA? Okay, and to give you guys context, so what a BFA acting program is, it's usually about like 12 to 14 to 16 people. It's very, very highly specialized. You have to audition. And then if you get into the acting program, you also have to also get into the school. And so for during the like your senior year, you are auditioning for like 10 to 15 to 20 to five different schools in hopes that they think you're good enough to get a place in the class. It's very cutthroat, very difficult. Every time you are in, you have had to beat over 100 plus people to get to your spot, which is an interesting now that I think about it in
Crazy.
context.
On paper,
Yes.
that's insane.
now
That
that I'm
as
so,
you're saying that right now, Michael, that is insane.
now that I'm saying it, I'm like, oh shit. Well, and I remember that led into a lot of my frustration with my peers when I was in college. Not all of my peers, but a lot of my peers and just the company at large, because my belief was that like we all fought to be here. So we should all
Act
be
like it.
like, we should act like it. We should be working on our things. And like everyone is different, like everyone didn't have to. There are some people who like maybe didn't have to fight as hard or maybe didn't have to put as much money or like is used to like, and so not everybody is wanting to like hunker down and focus, but I was like, we've had to like we've had to like cut our way to get here.
Hard.
So
That's the
like
word.
yeah, absolutely. It's like maybe focus on the stuff. So with the acting program,
I love the question mark. I'm so sorry. It's just so petty.
yeah, I'm not bitter at all. Did you audition? Did you get into the BFA acting program, or did you go teacher cert and then BFA?
So Texas State one was the only school I auditioned for
Mm.
a performing arts program. But that was I did a cattle call audition for North Texas, and
And
that's where
so, oh yeah, you got
and
it. You
State was there, and I was like, I want to go to that booth. So I was
yeah.
like, hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed my audition, and then I got invited to do callbacks. But
Mhm.
at that time, the only thing I knew about theater or acting in general was musical theater because that's all my school really did.
That's
They're
so
like
funny.
musical, and they were like, you should go to Texas State for the musical theater program. And I'm like,
It's a very
bet.
good program. Yeah.
I had no vocal lessons. I
Yeah.
had no dance
It's a
lessons.
very at least
I
when we were going, it was like top 5, top 10 musical theater programs in the country. It was very, very good.
I'm sure it still is. And
Yeah.
my teachers just were so disrespectful for letting me have that dream. like they should, and I know at that time I had certain strengths in acting comparison to my peers just because of that thing where they're like, Morgan, you're just more grounded. And I'm like, okay, life grounded me. So I think that's coming through in my work somehow.
Yeah.
So I felt like there were certain I felt safe and I felt more freedom to explore when it came to acting than anything else other than dance, because I've been dancing since I was a kid, but not musical theater dance.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time.
Well,
But
and keep going.
mhm. No. It was just that my brain was skewed. And I thought, I was like, I went up to the booth and it was Neil and Mozan. And I was like, hey, y'all, where's Caitlin? And I'm like, I'm like, oh, I thought she was gonna be here. Is musical theater here right now? like no.
This is
But
just
you can
acting.
come. This is this is acting. But we want to give you a callback so you can come to on campus. And I was like, that bet. Can you get me into the callback for musical theater while we're at it? And they were like, we'll try. We'll try.
And to give you context, I have seen a lot of actors. I've seen a lot of musical theater people. I've been acting and doing that stuff since I was like 8. Mo, and
You went to a
she's not
performing
gonna like
arts
this.
school.
Yeah, I went to a performing
You
arts high school, so like I know the stuff. Mo is not gonna like this when I say it. What I'm telling you, Mo is one of the most brilliant actresses that I have ever seen on stage. And I know she's not going to agree, but she
Just because
really is
I know
that.
Michael and Michael is. So I'm like, you can't. It doesn't work like that.
She really is that girl. And as we go through like the stories and talk about it, I'll point out how impressive the shit that
Yeah.
she has done. But yeah, the musical theater program, and to give you guys context, this is something that I don't think is talked about a lot with musical theater, is the
Mm.
proximity to privilege you need in order to do musical theater. So I
Ooh.
went to a performing arts high school. It was a very, very good, good performing arts high school, and I really wanted to be in musical theater as well. But the issue with musical theater is you have to have acting lessons, vocal lessons, and dance lessons since you were like 10. I Yeah, or 5 or
Ballet?
younger. No, like truly, in order to be competitive, and it sucks because I grew up middle class. Like my parents were not, I grew up in a two income household, but we didn't have money to do the singing lessons and the dance lessons.
Disposable. You have it's a nice chunk of disposable you have to have for all of that. For one kid, yeah.
It's so expensive, and so there's a lot of barrier to entry when it comes to a lot of minorities getting into musical theater, not because we don't have the talent, because the talent was never in question, but you need the consistent training, and that's where a lot of people struggle. I look at you, Mo. If you had the same type of training that they would have had at your youth, you would easily
So many other
clear.
people in this world. If you,
That's
everyone,
true.
if you
Yeah.
didn't have access, your life could be, it would just be different.
It
It would
would
just be black versus white. Like,
yeah.
this is a leaf, this is the tree. That's not a good metaphor. It's just like you can look at things and be
This
like,
is the
that is a
leaf, this is
different,
the tree.
different.
She's spitting. She's spitting.
Too bad. I'm just saying that like 1 + 1 = 2. Like, if you get training, you will be better.
Yes,
Like, that's all I
yes.
have to say.
That's
That's all
no,
I.
you're right. And it was, for me, it was really debilitating to have like worked so hard and then
Mm.
kind of get up there and realize like, oh, I won't be able to do this, not because I don't work hard and I'm not good, but because like I wasn't training with this since I was 10 and I can't afford it. I remember begging my mom to get voice lessons for like a
Mm.
year, and then she got me the voice lessons, but she could only afford it for like a month and a half. And my vocal teacher being like, you're amazing, but if you don't keep this up, there's no way you'll be able to do this. And being like, well, I'm 16. Like, how do I get enough money? And vocal lessons aren't cheap. They're
They're
like
not.
you're like 50 to 150, a session. Um, so yeah, so you got into college, right?
Yeah.
You got into the BFA acting program.
Hmm.
Um,
And yeah,
how was that overarching? You get in, you're excited. What was it? Was it what you thought? Was it not what you thought? Things you took away. How was your college experience as a whole?
honestly, I didn't have any like preconceived
Okay.
notions, or I didn't have an idea to start with. So I was just going in being like, okay, I'm game. I'm game
Okay.
for what is going to come.
You were the only
So
black person in your class, right? Black female in your class, correct?
black email. Hmm.
Yeah. So it was a class of like 14. Mo's the only black woman in that
Um,
class.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and people would probably look at me like, was that a culture shock for you? You being, I'm like, y'all, I'm from
That's
Texas.
that's
I'm like,
that's all we fucking know. I'm just giving it context so that y'all will
yeah.
fucking know that like
Right.
that's what that's like. Yeah.
And like, I was born in Lubbock, Texas. Moving to
Oof.
Dallas was a
Oof.
culture shock. So I'm like, y'all, this is actually me coming back to what I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's, but with that being said, there is the stuff that I know is that you need to be aware of your presence in this room, and
Mm.
things have to shift a little bit. That's what I'm used
Uh,
to. So it was actually freeing for me to go to Dallas for a little bit and see people, fellow brothers and sisters, people who are proud to have melanin. That was a culture shock. They're like, no, I'm gorgeous. And I'm like, what? You don't internally feel less
Less
than every
than?
second of your life? And they're like, no, I love my skin. I'm like, that's crazy. They broke my brain. And I'm so sad that I didn't have that as a kid. But when I got to Texas State, it was not that necessarily, but it was shifted, but from the lens of performance and the industry, in the sense like, oh, I'm relearning what it's like to be a Black woman in this industry, and these are the
Mm.
things that have to shift.
Hmm.
It just new shifts, but
Yeah.
also the family that we created,
Hmm.
the few of us that were there, the few
Yeah.
Black people, it's
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
uh invaluable having y'all.
Yeah.
Forever family. Love y'all so much because the lessons that I learned from y'all that y'all weren't even aware of, I carry them today, and they've helped me in my adulthood of how to love myself and how to love myself in this industry. So if I didn't have y'all, I would be an accountant in Dallas, Texas as we.
The feeling is mutual. When you say feeling less than, I want to speak to this, and I think you can speak to this as well, is that unfortunately, how the industry is set up is we are not seen as first. So if you think of Romeo and Juliet, naturally you think of white people. If you think of the classics, you think of Henry Ibsen or The Seagull or
Yeah.
Chekhov or these plays in Russian. So what happens with a lot of us black performers is we get in needing to prove, okay, our session will end in 10 minutes, great. Needing to prove to everyone that we belong here
Yeah.
and that we are worthy. And so the less than, unfortunately, even if you come in with a lot of pride and a lot of belief in yourself, you go to these casting calls, you look around and none of the women look like you or none of the guys look like you, and the people they are casting are these white blondes or these brown hair. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently, except the fact that like it keeps us out. And so you come in with so much like, I really need to prove that I belong here, which makes us a bit wound tight because we are having to fight through so much. And I don't know if you experienced any of that
Yes.
in your.
Big fat retweet. I just use I don't know how else to add to that. It's I what is it's in corporate America, or not just corporate America, everybody and their mama says this, but like black tax, like I've been hearing
Yeah.
about that since I was a kid. And I didn't really realize what that was until I entered the workforce after college and was like, oh, I see that. I see it. And just like everyday pop-up conversations, people are so blatant to talk about how much they make. And I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you how much I make, but we are in the same role. And I
It's
know
not
that you're
that.
making more than me. Like, it's like, and you got here 2 months ago. Why are you making more than me? And it's not a
Painful.
discussion. And people are quick to say, oh, because you didn't ask for it. I'm like, no, I haggled. I said I had another job offer, and I'm like, if you don't give me this, then I'm gonna go with that. I still did all that, and this man who rolled up out of school 2 months after, no, but no, I can't talk about it. I can't because
Oh,
it
that's so
translates into
frustrating.
acting. Taraji talking about it, like it transfers, and it's something that you can't battle by yourself, but you know
Yeah.
that it won't start and it won't fix in your life until you start it. It's like a wave effect. If you don't, then it doesn't happen for the person after you. If you don't, then
But that
it's just
added
something.
pressure that we have to now also be the advocate for ourselves, and that's like not what
Yeah,
other people have to say. Like it just adds to the amount of stuff that we have to do, that we have to be responsible for, which is
yeah.
fucking exhausting. um
So yeah.
do you think that college prepared you for the industry? Because Mo now works in the industry. Is it Morgan? Do you go by Morgan more so now than
I
Mo?
go by both, but my friends call me Mo, and you're my friend, so
I
please
am
call
your
me Mo.
friend. Um,
Okay.
do you feel like college has adequately equipped you for the industry? And if it did, what were the things that were helpful? If it didn't, what were the things that you wish that you had learned? Do you think
No,
people
for
should go to college for acting?
that's such a subjective question that you know. But okay, I'll
Because
break it
my
down.
answer is fucking no. We'll get to
I
that.
know. I
But we'll
know.
go to Mo's response first.
That's hysterical. Um, well, it prepared me for certain things, and then it did not prepare me for other things.
That's fair.
The the main thing that it did prepare me for, I cannot sit here and say that it did not give me tools. Like
Yeah,
I am
absolutely.
I go back to my notes. I know how to analyze a script. I know how to
Hmm.
develop a
Hmm.
character. Like the
Hmm.
essentials of what we do
The
and what it is to
technicals.
act, they taught us that. And they taught us it down. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that I did not get training. They trained us very well.
Mhm.
If you were there and you were susceptible to the training and you were willing
Doing the
to
work.
take notes, and you were like, that's it's an amazing program for that. But in terms of the industry, I do think that maybe 90% of my knowledge of the industry happened once I graduated.
Yeah.
10% happened, and I have to say this, because of COVID and the shutdown.
So what year were you in college when COVID happened?
That was our COVID started the end of our junior year. And then
Okay.
throughout all of senior year, we were at home.
Woo,
So
and let me tell you, doing acting via Zoom is not easy.
then that's why we had to pivot. But I will say that it helped us with TV film more than anything, because we got to do more self tapes
Gotcha.
when that was not in the curriculum before. And
Yeah.
that was so helpful because we were doing camera technique. We were doing what your perception from a tape. What does your character look like? How is this fitting with the character description? There were so many lessons that we got that year that we wouldn't have gotten previously if we did the original plan, that I do think helped us when it came to industry, because it helped us
Absolutely.
understand more about what is going to be asked of us whenever we are told to bring a character or bring a person to a character, and what our brand will be. It helped me more with my brand than I think us standing there and talking about ourselves in front of the
No,
class.
no, absolutely, absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
it was different, and I that was beneficial because it helped me understand my place, but my package to what I was going to offer this industry, because it's still a business, and I know I'm
Yeah,
offering it, sadly.
yeah,
But
yeah.
as for everything else, like uh, uh union, management, reps, what is
Agents, yeah,
bus join, like all that stuff that came after.
yeah.
And I feel like that needs to come
Before,
junior year so you can
no,
prepare senior year to start doing stuff and get
abs-
an agent while you graduate. That's momentum for a college student. That's why
no,
you're going to for networking.
no, absolutely. That's my sentiments the exact same way. The tools were great, like the being able to learn the different techniques. But the thing that I think college, and I'm not even calling out my specific college, I think colleges in general,
In general,
really,
yes.
really, yeah, really, really suffer with is the aspects of the industry. They focus a lot on, oh, we want to teach you all of these techniques on how to be a great actor, which is awesome. But if you don't know how to network, if you don't have an agent, if you don't have a self tape, if you don't know
A
how to
real.
film, if you don't have a reel, if you don't know how to film these things, and that was my biggest issue with collegiate collegiate like colleges in general, was that and I auditioned for a lot of colleges and got into a lot of programs, and when I was looking at all of these programs and studying them, there was it was like 10 to 15 years behind where the industry actually is. It takes a while for college to be prepping you for what's happening now. Like in the age of TikTok and Instagram, and people, I get this, actors are not going to like to hear this, but like we should be doing classes on
We,
filming TikToks
I
and
know.
doing stuff on creating content. If I was in charge of in colleges, I would want my students to leave with TikTok series. We would sit down and we would have conversations about brand, about things they're wanting to do, and everybody would leave. Even if they don't want
I
to continue
know.
it, they don't have to, but they would leave with some sort of TikTok series or some sort of yeah. What were you saying?
No, it's just you're really on the money. And I didn't realize that this was something that I was learning. And I'm grateful that my other major was basically marketing.
Did you
And
double
this,
major,
I've been telling you this. You
guys?
said
To give
hello,
you
my Michael. I said
to give
hello.
you
I'm a double major and I'm dying. My name is Morgan. That's
to
exactly how our first conversation went.
to give you guys context, you are not allowed to double major because the acting program is so intensive. They don't want you to do it. You're not
I had
supposed to
to
double major.
convince. I was
Mo
going
had
to
to Mo had to convince them because that's insane because the workload for acting is astronomical. But Mo is such a fucking gangster that you were
No,
somehow able to do both. That's incredible. That's not
I
easy.
lost so much of my college experience because of it. I wouldn't. I
Fair.
probably wouldn't do it
It's
again.
so much
Probably
work.
wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
But from that aspect that you just painted of actors having to present themselves and have an online presence and then be able to garner an audience, not an audience, but just people who will be interested in their work,
Yes.
potentially wanting to hire them. Like
Yes.
you have to be online. And I kept neglecting that when I got out of college. I was the one who would delete an account every 2 years. And I'm going to stop, I swear. And I know we have less
We
than a
have
minute.
less than a minute, yeah, and then we'll
Okay,
switch
okay.
up.
Okay. All
Um,
I gotta say is it's invaluable and you have to market yourself. Point blank period. Okay.
I wanted to mention is that Laurel Topol, there that is someone who
Oh,
graduated from the same college as I did, or we did. And what was cool about Laurel is she went and then she started doing TikToks. They were doing voice
yeah.
acting TikToks, they were doing acting TikToks. And I remember a lot of people being like, oh, and this was like nothing against Laurel, but they were like, oh, like this isn't acting, like they're trained and they're doing these weird TikTok videos and shit like that. And Laurel blew the fuck up.
Thank
Not only
you.
not only did they blow the fuck up, but they were getting acting opportunities from the TikToks that they were doing,
And
and it
continue
was
to this day.
yes, and so it was really beautiful to see it. Sometimes people who are trained, it can serve as a barrier to try new things because we're so used to how formalized everything is
Yeah.
and how traditional everything is. And I love that Laurel is able to be like, oh yeah, I'm trained. This is cool stuff. Let me try and start doing this stuff. And it blew up and it did amazing.
Oh
A
goodness.
shout out to her. I haven't talked to her since college. I probably should hit her
Laurel
up.
as well. Killing it.
But she's great.
Yeah.
So, Mo, you are
Hello.
black. You are a
Like I didn't know.
you are also a woman.
Yes,
Uh
I'm crying. It's so funny.
how how has it been navigating the industry, finding your brand? Because you are so Mo is such a I'm gonna be honest, like Mo is such a beautiful, complex individual that it can be hard to it's hard to put Mo in a box because Mo doesn't fit in a box, and Hollywood wants boxes. They
Yeah.
want to be able to throw you in the like sassy black women box or the like this box or this, and Mo is talented enough to play really anything. So how did you navigate this? How do you stay true to yourself? Like how has that experience been for you?
You're so kind. Um,
It's true.
I I wish my characterization were as good as I'd like. I don't know if I could play anything.
I think y'all Mo is really I wish I could like flash to all of the acting performances I've seen. Just
Yeah.
trust me, I don't lie about shit. Mo's
You
really that
do your
girl.
straight shooter.
Yeah, like you were just really it's like you, Jada,
Oh,
Rachel Webb, like just incredible performers.
also Michael. Okay. Needs to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah,
Needs
yeah.
to be
I'm
said.
retired, so
Not the case. You don't know what the world is. You don't know what can happen in 50 years. You don't know
that is
what's in
true. That's
store.
true. I'll be
I'm gonna
coming back.
drag you to one of my projects and you're just gonna have to come.
No, I will be coming back. I love this stuff. I just don't like the industry, but I love this
Yeah.
stuff. But for you, so
But with that,
how was it
right.
navigating?
That's a good segue.
Yeah.
Um, the industry is something where I'm like, I know what is in place right now, and I know that I have to make my entry as easy as possible. This sounds so bad for the gatekeepers.
But it's
I have
true.
to
But
make
it's
it as
true.
easy as possible and palatable for the gatekeepers to get in. Because I could be sitting out here doing my own beautiful thing that I love, and I'm like, it resonates with my friends and my family. I'm like, yeah, 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 but I'm outside the gate. I'm outside the gate, and I can't keep doing that because I'm not getting fed outside the gate. I can't stay in the
Oh,
city outside the gate. I can't afford to live outside the gate. If that's the case, I'm going to be an accountant in Dallas,
yo, she's
Texas.
fucking spinning.
No.
I want to put a beat under what you're fucking saying because it's like a fucking rap.
No,
Holy shit. I don't know if y'all
it's just
understand.
repetition. That's all. That's the only rhetoric device I'm using right now. It's just repetition.
I don't think y'all understand what this woman is speaking to y'all. There is from the outside. there was this impulse to tell artists that what you need to do is to be as loud, authentically yourself as
Yeah.
possible, to forge your own way. Because when we see people do that, we point to it and
Yeah.
say, look, they did that. Quentin Bronson did that. That's all you have to do.
They
But
are one of insert astronomical number.
yes,
They're
and
not
we
showing
love
you the
her.
statistics. Yeah.
And we love her and we
Love her.
appreciate her, and we want that story for others. But when you are coming into a 100-year-old, maybe decades and decades old industry,
It's old as
and
hell.
they are seeing over 100 or so people, a lot of the times you want to be able to be easy to be understood so
Yeah.
that you can get in.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing all of this beautiful stuff and yada yada yada, that's beautiful. But if we can't get you in, like you said, you can't get fed outside the gate.
You really
And that's,
can.
keep going.
And people will say, okay, well, don't sacrifice your integrity. Make sure you have jobs in place so that the jobs will keep you in the city and you can make money and you can just stay true to yourself. There is something to be said about that, but I know how my brain works, my personality. I will get spent and I won't
Mhm,
have anything else to give.
mhm,
I just
mhm,
know that about
mhm,
my, because I'm not a person where
mhm.
I can um divide my efforts. I'm an all or nothing person. So if
Me
I'm
too.
doing
Me too.
this other job, I'm gonna be the best waitress there and I'm gonna
Mhm,
sacrifice everything to make sure I'm the
mhm.
best waitress, I'm reliable, et cetera, whatever. And then when I did that 9 to 5 corporate job to make sure I could afford to continue living here, and also I I I
Because you're in
know
New
that
York, right?
I'm in New York and that rent is high.
Not easy. Not easy. Not easy.
High
I
rent.
I wouldn't be able to. This is really impressive.
You know, once you're here, you're just gonna rise to the occasion. Like I didn't think I would ever
Okay.
be able to. Like you would,
That
because you would
tracks. That
you would
tracks.
rise to the. That's your personality type. You'd rise to the
That
occasion.
tracks.
But it's so much to ask of a person when they don't know what is going to be asked of them. I cannot count my mental breakdowns on my hands and my toes. It's a recurring cycle. This is a hard industry, especially if you're coming in at the mindset of this is on me. I don't want to
Mm.
I'm not going to go too deep about this, but I don't want to bug my family just because they have given me everything they've sacrificed their entire life to get me to this point. For me to go and tell them I need more, that would be the end point for me. That'd be the end point.
And
But
what's so keep going.
mhm. No, because I just completely strayed from the branding question, and I'll come back to it. But what were you gonna
Well,
say?
no, but I think this is beautiful. And the thing that's very painful reality that I have learned is that I have that same chip on my shoulder where it's like, and this is a very common with minorities, is that our families have put together so much
Yeah.
to give us this chance. We do not want to ask for more. But what I'm learning from our white counterparts and our people with privilege is that that's how they get ahead. Mom,
Just asking for help. I know.
I can't live here. Can you help me pay for my New York apartment? Mom, can you just move to New York and I stay with you? Mom, I don't have money. Can I just live at home with you and just do acting? Because that's the thing that the industry is set up for people of privilege. They want you to be on call 24/7. They want you to be able to, if you are at work right now, your agent wants you to be able to leave that job
Yeah.
right then and be able to go to an audition. They want you to be able to be available at all time. I remember I had an agent. She was telling a story about how there's this person who got a callback for a Disney film, not the lead. She just got a callback, and she was on her honeymoon. And the woman left her honeymoon to do the callback, and that was a point of pride. It was to show us how dedicated.
That
And I
part.
remember being
That
like,
part. Ooh, we have to talk about that. I don't know
"Yeah,"
when
I was
to
like,
get
"Nigga,
to it,
that's
but
not."
like it's like you are not
You can
serious
do it
about this
now,
industry until you have lived in your car at one point. I'm like,
and it's like, I don't want to do that. What do you mean?
like that's what
I
I've
don't want to
gotten
have to.
to. It's not that deep, my friend. It's not that deep. We are
then you don't fucking love it
full-rounded
as
human
much. Then you
beings.
don't love it as much. If you're not willing to fucking do that, then you don't fucking love it then. And it's like,
You are the
nigga,
industry
what?
and you're punching me right now. It's crazy. I
It's like I
will.
got into this to play cool characters and to like what do you mean I have to be in poverty in order to do this?
Like
No.
my guy, we're playing pretend. We are okay. No, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop
Like,
because
but let's keep it 100. Like, it's
be,
beautiful. I love it. It's an art, but we're playing pretend. That's what we're
we're
doing.
playing
And it's a beautiful
pretend.
privilege to do that.
It is a beautiful privilege. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not the person I am today because of the art that I've consumed since I have been a
Absolutely.
kid. It is
Absolutely.
important. It
Absolutely.
is beautiful, but we are still playing pretend. I'm not going to be on the street eating grass because I could not go and get myself a banana from the bodega because because this industry put me in that situation. I'm not going to give that industry. That was okay. Let me stop. I do have a limit of how much power I give this industry over me.
Which is very important. Talk about it. That's very important. That's
I
very
didn't
important.
I didn't fully understand what that meant until my second year because I
Mm-hmm.
put my entire mental and physical, my entire all of the categories of my health into the stakes of this industry. And I didn't know that I was doing it, but by being on call at all times, being able to drop everything in my life at all times, postponing a surgery that I have desperately been needing for 3 years just so I can be available for pilot season. That's not smart. That was me subtly giving this industry power over my body and autonomy in ways that it should not that should have never been the case. But I'll keep talking to people who are older than me who've been in the game for 10 plus years and like you'll do well once you figure out how to be happy with yourself. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Okay, bet. What does that mean? They're like, you got to live your life and then the industry's on the side. And I'm like, on the side, al lado. What is that?
But this is the thing this is the thing I love. Yeah, this is the thing I love. This is all I want to do. This is what I think about, and I have to put it to the side.
Like, what do you mean? And they're like, that's where it is healthy. That's where you're
I'm just writing down notes.
Oh, for sure, for sure. You have to be able to go out and meet people. If you want to have a family, please go do that. Don't make this industry be the reason that you don't. If you want to go see your family, please go do that. You don't want this industry to be something that will prevent you from doing that because you're going to start resenting it. And when you start resenting the things that you love, you start to hate it and then you leave. And I'm like, that's not what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the name of the game right now is all I'm hearing is that the only thing that's keeping me in this industry and keeping me in the place of getting future jobs is longevity. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm happy and healthy and that I'm financially stable to stay here for as long as possible.
Yes. Yes.
So
well, and what's painful about the industry is that it rewards you for self-sacrifice, but only a bit because it's not guaranteed, and penalizes you greatly if you do not sacrifice everything.
Which is
like, it would be easy. Like, you look at like a doctor, right? If they go to college, they spend the $200,000 or however much it is for, school, they're pretty much guaranteed a job, and all of the hours and stuff that they have spent will eventually transfer to dollars because they're doing the thing. It is not the same with acting and with this industry. You can spend hours, you can drive 8 hours to do this callback, you can prep all of this and prep all of that and still get nothing. You can take off the job and risk losing the job and get nothing. But if you're not willing to risk that, then you're definitely going to get it.
It's like the lottery. It's the lottery.
A lottery that you are doing every single day.
And it's not just you paying for a ticket. That's not it is. It's in many ways it feels like we're dedicating our lives.
Yeah.
Time out of our, and it feels like, oh, I'm doing this for free, but we love it so much that I'm like, my brain's not going to skip a beat. I'm going to do it. Unless it's one of the lines that we've said, like, this is I'm not crossing this. These are my core values.
Which is really important.
You don't get that. Okay. Big bad Hollywood, what you want to call yourself. You don't get this part of my life. You can have this, but not that. So I
Well,
feel
and
like,
that's
yeah,
keep on, keep on.
no, but I think that was the part when it came to branding where I was like, you can have this part of me, but until you do right by me,
Yeah,
you can't get this part. So that helped me understand that if I'm going to conform myself to these jobs, because I need to get into rooms that are going to be the most accessible for me right now, they're going
hmm
to require me to do this. This does not mean that I am this. This is just part of my package.
yes,
This does not
yes.
mean that I'm selling my soul and I'm not going back on my integrity. That's not what this is. I need to separate my brain from that. This is a business. And I don't know if that's my International Business Academy from high school
That's
talking,
good. That's good.
but I know supply and demand. I know the principles of you make this product, you market it. So they're telling me this is the product they need in this breakdown. Sadly, because it's a living, breathing human being that they want you to embody. But this is a product that they need. So
That
let me
is true.
it's wild. This industry is crazy. But can you deliver this product? Yes. Okay, do it. Can I deliver this product? No. I'm gonna pass. It's really as easy as that. And then me too. Am I blurry?
No, I'm blurry. Is it still blurry on your end?
It's
Let
a
me
little
change
blurry.
it.
You just got that nice aperture.
Let me change it back because I'm not sure where I did that. Great. We're
There
back.
we go. But
Yeah,
that's what's helped. Yeah.
no, I think about the lines you were saying. I remember and like making sure you have clear lines. I once I graduated college, I lucked out and I got cast in the American Shakespeare Center for a national tour, which was
Also,
huge. I
you were
played
amazing, and that was earned and deserved. You said lucked out.
I yeah, I did work very hard. It was good of them to hire me because I did a very good job.
Thank you.
They hired me, they had me play Tom Joad in Grapes of Wrath, which
Yeah.
first black Tom Joad in America, which was fucking wild.
Yep.
Like it was very great and I was touring and I was loving it, but I was because I'm paranoid, I was not even paranoid because I'm analytical. I was looking around and I was looking at how the leads of all the three shows we were doing were all people right out of undergrad, right? But we had people as old as like 42 in our cast, right?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I remember going up to one of the 42-year-olds. He's a brilliant actor. He had a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. His resume was 2 to 3 times as long as mine. Very, very brilliant actor and doing a significantly smaller role than me and getting paid the exact same. And I remember
Sounds
looking
about
at
right.
that and
That's the
being like,
industry. Yeah.
and I remember being like, that's not fair. But he was happy, engaging, bubbly. So I asked him, I said, I mean, no disrespect. You've more trained than me. You have more knowledge than me. You've been doing this longer than me. And yet you were playing a smaller role and getting paid the same. And you're not angry. And you're also in your 40s. How are you not angry?
Why'd you put that tag on there?
Well,
Oh
but
God,
it's just,
that tag is wild. And you're also old as fuck. Like
well,
that's
no, and it's like, and it was no disrespect. I'm
no
genuinely
disrespect. He was
inquiring, I'm
kind
very
gentleman.
yes, and I'm very lucky that he understood, my autism and my need to just like
Get
just
the
shoot
information.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he looked at me. He was like, "I'm gonna be honest. I love this
Mhm.
industry. I love acting so much that any sort of crumb or thing I can do to get it is enough for me." And I
Wow.
remember hearing that and thinking, that's not me.
Wow.
I don't feel the same way because I don't want to be in my 40s making the same as a 25-year-old. So I need to make some changes because if I was in this position, I would be angry. And
Okay.
that is what spawned my taking a step away from the industry. Well, it spawned me no longer doing theater because there was not a lot of money in theater. I remember going to galas with the American Shakespeare Center and learning, and this is very common for all industries, that most of our money, a lot of the money is gotten from galas and donations. What keeps theaters afloat is not the ticket sales,
No.
it
The
is
tax incentives that
donations.
these producers with all the money in the world are giving.
And I'm
For
like, wait, so
fun.
we're all just living just based on the kindness of rich people? That's not sustainable. And
When you
as you
say it
know, when
like that,
COVID,
that's
and as
crazy.
you know, with COVID, like theaters were shutting down left and right because there was no money. And so that made me be like, all right, I want to pivot away from theater because there's not a lot of money there. And then I tried to start doing the acting and film. And as you know, like there's not a lot of money, consistent money there either.
No, it's just like the people like to joke and they say one day's work of TV film is like a week's work for theater. But I'm like, you get that one day's work
Oh,
once a
yeah.
year. Theater, you get a 3-month contract, and it is more than paid you what that TV film did for that one day. But boy, do you tell your family about that one day? You say, be on the lookout for that one day. It's coming. It's coming on CBS. Come on.
The one day is I remember going to film shoots and making like 1,500 for
Come
like
on, SAG
six
standard
hours.
scale. Come
But
on.
then them waiting 3 to 4 months to send that money.
Oh,
Because that's how
absolutely.
the industry works is they don't when you to give you guys context, when you work, you don't get paid immediately at all. It's always deferred. It could go for as usually it's about like a month to as long as 6 months.
It took me
Uh
6 months to get something that I had to quit my job for.
that's fucking crazy. And that's standard. That's like
And I'm like,
that's
if I question it, I'm gonna feel like a brat. So I'm just gonna wait patiently. That's dumb because I don't play with my
yeah.
money, and I'm not gonna play with
Well,
your money. So don't play
exactly,
with mine.
exactly. And there's nothing like I remember talking to my day job friends, like when I was working a day job and explaining them, and they're like, so let me get this straight. You worked a job, they said they were gonna pay you something, they haven't yet, and then they haven't told you how much, and you're gonna go back again if they ask you. And it's like, yeah, yeah. I guess that's
Paper were crazy, insane, and there's
it
people
sounds great.
I've known people who do. They didn't get paid for the job, and it was like 5 years ago. They just didn't get paid, but they got the
Uh,
credit on the resume. The resume sometimes feels the brain is crazy how it makes you think this. So
yep.
like, I'm more happy about that credit on my resume than the money that I know I'm gonna get in 2 years, maybe, hopefully. Like it's just you.
And maybe hopefully.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
They were right to ask you that
well,
question. Yeah,
let's pivot into something beautiful.
fine,
So,
fine.
the industry is very difficult and exhausting and painful. But sometimes,
Sometimes, yeah, there's
you get to do a cool thing.
yeah,
So I know nothing about your experience with Mean Girls. Feel free to share as much or as little as you want, like the audition process,
yeah.
the filming process, being a part of that. Like how was this for you?
Oh my goodness. So the audition process was like any other one where they send you
Yeah,
something for this specific character. But I think the character that I auditioned for eventually got cut, or that they were rearranging and trying to figure out what they wanted to do with featured students.
that tracks.
So like I auditioned for like 3 different students, but I think I was like, I personally think I just feel too old. And it kind of goes back with what we were talking about earlier with branding. Like, my presence is older. My face without my glasses is a baby.
Yeah.
So I know I will come into my super cyan. What is it?
Seance? I can't remember. It's
I
been so
wish you
long.
me to. I'm like, my hair is going up and everything when I turn 35 because everything
Oh,
will
Super Saiyan. You're referencing Dragon
Dragon
Ball?
Ball Z.
I
Yeah,
don't watch that shit. I know
I thought
it
you
makes sense
did.
why some
You're
it makes sense
Naruto.
why you would think. Yeah,
You're
you're
Naruto.
right. It is Naruto. I love that you even remember these small details about me. Yeah.
Because that's your favorite
Uh
anime. We've talked about that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but I think that will happen for my branding when I turn 35. So I was happy to get this role where it's a kid in high school. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's it.
They think I can be believable in that. Who am I to question them? So I was like, oh, okay, I probably didn't get those initial roles that I auditioned for because that wasn't it was just like random. But then casting came back. They're like, we want to put her in, but we want to see if we can give her a moment. And my agent was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
what kind of moment are we talking about? And they were like, bubble gum. And I said, okay. they said, can we get a tape of you just blowing bubble gum? And I'm like, I'm gonna chew the hell out this gum. What do you mean I'm sending it to you? Because I'm going to do what is asked of me if I'm not
Yeah.
selling my soul. So I blew this bubble gum, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna put her in this bubblegum girl. And from there, it was just supposed to be one day, and I was just supposed to like do the title card where they it says Mean Girls, and I blow the bubble gum and I'm out. But it was just a situation.
If you see the trailer and I'll attach it, and Mo blows bubblegum in the fucking trailer.
And the
You
way
can
I
see
thought that was
her.
gonna be all my screen time, I was like, my family's getting excited. I'm like, y'all, I haven't seen the movie yet. That might be all my screen time. So just be prepared. That's the nature of the
Yeah.
business. But going on set, what? Because that's one of those things where I'm like, you're in an area that you've dreamed of your entire life.
Yeah.
And then it hits you in all these different ways, all the nuances. When you look at a trailer, when you look at this thing that says crafty, when you have people or they're saying points, 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 I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to describe this. This just feels like home. And that's why I'm gonna sit here and talk bad about all the shit this industry does to me, this toxic relationship I'm in, but that's my man and I'm gonna stand beside him. Like I don't know. I love it so much. But
Ladies, if the man is treating you like the acting industry, definitely fucking leave him.
please,
But for this metaphor, this metaphor
I
is
don't
okay.
condone it. But that's just the reality.
But no, but it's real because this is the thing, and we'll spoil. This is spoiler alert for Mean Girls if you haven't seen Mean Girls. But the fact that you end up with what's the character's name?
Janice, Ali E's character,
Yes,
Janice.
that
And
is fucking incredible.
that was a journey. And at the end of the day, for the other things that happened before that decision was made, it was just a situation of you are coming to work and you're good company. And I'm like, I'm trying to make sure that I'm just easy to work with, but not like, oh, I hope I'm like, I'm just trying to be a nice person, like respectful, knowing people's names, making sure we're having a good time. And then I'm calling out, like, call me to my trailer, call me whenever you need me, fat bet. Like, just keep it easy, keep
Yeah.
it professional. And then I realized that will get you further, like that people notice that. Because people want to work with nice people.
Yeah.
Like it's really that simple. And I didn't know that was a method of networking because I suck at networking. And
Same.
it like you can smell it on me if I'm walking up to you with something that is inauthentic and has an ulterior motive. So I'm just gonna be at home. But I see people who do it and they do it very well. But this is my form of networking where I come to work, I meet cool people, and I make sure I know everybody's name and I say goodbye to everybody when I go home. Like that's my version of networking. So that carried me, or that did well for me on this set. They called me back. They're like, actually, we really like playing with you. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then it ended up being this. And they were like, you know what? I didn't even know that I had a name until I went and saw the movie. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm still Bubblegirl. And they're like, all right, Grace, nobody ever says your name in the movie, but I'm a rep you.
Did they communicate
No,
with you that well, of course not, because that's the industry. Did they communicate that you were going to, like, when you were doing the shots with Janice,
yeah,
were they like, oh, you and Janice are like a thing, or like did they
that
communicate any of that?
those shots happened pretty much within 2 days of each other. So they told me when we were all doing the spring fling, or not, the girls gym scene, whenever trust
Yeah,
fall, the confession scene, that's when they told me, hey, we're gonna pivot your character and we're gonna make you Janice.
got it.
So after that, they were like, okay, we're gonna change the shots and we're gonna do something, we're gonna figure it out. But that was just like going along with the ride. And from there on, that's when those shots came in. We morphed it. But that is all I can say about Mean Girls is it was a journey, like from beginning
Yeah.
to the end, because nothing that I intended actually happened, and it was a beautiful thing because of it. So
Did they renegotiate your contract when they were adding more stuff to it?
funnily, they actually had me booked for 2 weeks, where they had me on hold. because I was
Oh,
a
okay, cool.
student in the background, or I was going to be
Yeah.
present for environment and whatnot. They technically were already going to pay me that amount, and that was the help of my agents. They're like, if you're going to use our client to blow bubblegum, you need to go ahead and put her in the rest of this movie. And I'm like, thank you,
Yeah.
agents, for,
Shout out to your agent. Yeah.
because
When
if
they're
it was
good,
just
they're
me, I'd
good.
be like, okay, let's come for this one day. Okay.
Yeah. Cause yeah.
I brought my own bubble gum. You don't even need to pay for that. I already did my hair. You need to pay for hairstylists. I did it all. I'm happy to be like, it was
Yep.
that energy. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, she deserves this and she's gonna get this. So
Hell yeah.
if that weren't the case, then it would have cost them more. So I feel like this was a nice it was nice for me because I still got paid, and also it was nice for them because they
Yep.
worked with their resources and I was a resource.
No,
Okay.
no, I mean, that's beautiful. I just, when I saw it, I cried. I cried for a lot of reasons. I cried because I got to see you are just such an amazing talent, and and I didn't know. I had no idea. So I was watching with my friend,
I
and I
didn't know
was
any of that
like,
footage was gonna go in and stay in.
yeah, I was like, oh, look, my friend's bubblegum. That's amazing. Cool. And like I kept seeing you. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I think, did you have a vocal line in one of the
And I
songs?
didn't even know that was gonna make it. I was supposed to
Yeah,
go.
so what was that?
Right. What was that? I went for ADR and they were like, we're gonna have you speak this, like where you just go in, you do the line, you just speak the line.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get it in when they were shooting. We
Yeah.
didn't get that. So I knew that was gonna come. And I was like, I did like 8, 10 times of me speaking it. And they were like, you know what? If you want to sing it, like we're gonna like use it to lace it with the singing, we're gonna use speaking, but you want to sing it? And I was fucking playing around. It was like, who wrote this? I was joking, but they used it. I'm like, y'all are dirty.
I
I
was
did not
watching the
like this.
film.
I did not
I
like it.
was watching the film and I heard your voice and I was like, wait, what the fuck? That's not like,
Just as
and my
shocked as
friend
you.
didn't understand it because like he doesn't know the industry as well. I was like, no, if she's in that, they had to take the time to either mic her or ADR. That's fucking crazy.
It was insane because I'm learning all of the things with you. I'm so critical of myself. And you know how critical I am of singing that I
Yes,
actually have to
yes. It
skip
was
past that
very
part. I actually
good.
have to close
It's
my
very
ears when
good.
that part
And
comes on.
Mo is an amazing
I
singer.
cannot stand beside that moment right there. I'm so sorry because
And
oh,
everybody else loves it.
and
Oh
then
my
I'm
God, none of us can be Renee.
like, and
That's
then I'm
not
like,
on you. None of us can be her.
it's crazy. I'm like, y'all, that I'm so also very happy, and then I'm also grateful. I'm like, thank y'all for letting me get a chance to sing in that because they wouldn't
Absolutely.
have put it in if it was bad.
Absolutely.
But I'm just gonna be
No,
critical. I'm
absolutely.
just gonna
This
be
is a
mad
movie
critical.
with, yeah, this is a movie with a huge $1 million budget. If you suck, they would have cut that shit. Like
Ooh,
facts, just straight up facts. If you sucked, you wouldn't have been there. But you didn't
wild,
because you're
wild, wild.
great.
But
Um,
that and but all the journey wrapped up. Bow on it, well, not really, because it's even us talking about this right now, it still is like
it doesn't encompass,
it,
yeah.
it doesn't compute for my brain. I can't wrap my head around it. It's insane. But when I was taking my mom, and I was sitting next to her and watching, I was like, I can't. And I was nervous the entire time. I was like shaking, but and she won't be able to fully understand what that experience was like for me because I'm like, I'm doing this for you, and not like I'm doing this, but like I'm doing
I'm,
this for you. Thank you
you
for
gave me
letting
the,
me.
yes,
Like you
yes,
gave
and this is
birth to me, and you
proof.
didn't quit on what the situations that life put in front of you. You didn't quit, and that's why I am able to do this. Like you don't understand. I love my mom. I love her so much, and like
Oh man.
it's in, and that's why I'm gonna keep showing up. Like that's why I'm gonna keep doing this because this is what makes me happy, and by me being happy, that is what makes my mom happy. And she said it. She was like, I can't imagine you doing anything else. I'm like, listen, same.
Oh,
Let's have a little prayer for the future because that's a scary future now. If I can't do anything else, I really can't. And I've tried. I've tried. I just
that
won't. I can't see life without it. So that's it.
well,
No.
well,
No.
here's to hoping. Oh, I 100% cried. I've been crying this whole time. I don't give a fuck. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you get that moment. The reason I was crying in the movie is because that's what I felt. I got to see the culmination, even if it feels, because like as an actor, it feels kind of smaller because you don't know how it's gonna look. They're not telling you anything, they're not
You're
communicating.
not.
So
You
you
don't
don't
know if
really
you're cut until
know.
you go. Like I didn't even know if I was still
Yeah,
gonna be in the movie. They could put you in the trailer, but you're not in the movie. That happens
absolutely.
to me.
So
Yeah. So
so it was beautiful to see that you were there and you were with Janice, and it confirms Janice's sexuality even more,
yeah.
and that is immortalized in time in a way that nobody else has. Mean Girls is something that people will be talking about for years to come.
Hmm.
Because we're still talking about it. It feels very Shakespearean, like you have originated this role of this thing, and like the next Mean Girls might have a bigger role for that character. So um
Yes. Yeah. That is beautiful. That is.
this is beautiful. We only got a few minutes left. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to say to people, or just any sort of closing? You don't have to, but just like giving you the floor to say. um
I guess I could just wrap up the. It sounds like we hit a theme throughout this entire thing of this industry is going to be hard. It's a hard industry, but the more you know
mhm.
yourself, the better it will
Yes.
be. And it sounds so cliche. And I hate that cliches are a thing, but they've been said so many times for a
For a
reason.
reason. Yeah.
And it's hard to really believe them and understand them until you get into a moment in your life where I'm like, oh, this applies perfectly. It's like a glove, how easy this fits. It, and I'm still on the journey to understand who I am at this chapter of my life, but I know enough to where I feel safe continuing to pursue
You feel
this
safe.
career. I feel safe to
You
do
feel
it.
safe enough. That's good. That's a really beautiful sentiment of
Ooh,
feeling safe to do
security
this.
is a crazy thing for a black woman.
If you do not feel safe, then you should not be doing this. Mo, thank you so much. This is spawned because of a conversation Mo and I had. I had been playing with the idea of doing something like this, and then Mo and I had talked, and I was like, "Oh, this has to happen."
Thank you for thinking about this because I'm so excited for other people you're going to bring on. This is I wish I had
Oh, I'm
this whenever I was going to like a podcast like this where people were over like peeking behind the curtain, behind the scenes to really tell
like, this is the thing. Yeah,
this is
yeah.
it. You were you still in? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
Like,
if you are, then all right. But I want you to know what the fuck. Hobie, he says, just know what war, but just know what war. Ugh, shit, now I gotta fucking look it up.
no, you
Sorry, we've only got 2 minutes, and now I have to look up this quote before it ends. This is what
you
we'll end on because it's a great quote, and I love this quote.
do justice.
And it's in my little quote book. Oh, I've got enough time, but still. All right. I promise you, it's gonna be all worth it once I get
I'm
this
so
quote.
excited. This anticipation is great. Ooh, it's gonna be such a good
Okay.
button too.
Yeah, Hobie Brown.
Oh yeah.
Come on. From okay. Shit, 130. Oh man, okay. I'm actually running out
Hey,
of time.
hey,
All right,
don't even
scroll
look
into
at the
the
time.
bud. No,
Don't
I
stretch
got
it.
this.
You
I
keep
got this.
looking at the time. You're stretching yourself out.
Okay.
Got that.
Du-du-du-du. Shit. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it.
I can also help.
Uh, yeah, you want to look up on the internet, Hobie Brown war quote. This will, oh shit.
Kobe spelled Cobie or Co.
Hobbie.
Oh, Hob. Oh, okay.
Oh shit, I might just have to do that.
Oh, just don't enlist until you know what war you're fighting.
I found it. Yeah, you just don't enlist until you know what war you're fighting. That's it. Hobie Brown. Love you all. Away for it.
Yeah.
Ayo, we out here. Mo out here. Chaos Light. We doing our thing. My cat just jumped and knocked down a cat box, and I have to go deal with that. I love you. And we can. Do you want to talk after? Did you want to do a debrief after?
Yeah, yeah. If you don't mind,
Yeah, cool. Do you want a phone or
I'll FaceTime you.
Zoom? All right, bet.
Okay. Love you.
Love you. Bye.